phones, Babylons can't crack the code.
This is Alvin Kamara. He has had one of the best single performances in NFL history against the Minnesota Vikings on Christmas Day, where he rushed for 155 yards and had a total of 6 touchdowns. But how did Alvin Kamara come from a guy who only started 8 games in his college career to being one of the top running backs in the NFL? In today's video, I'll be talking about the Alvin Kamara story all the way up from high school to now present day in the NFL, where he's now known as one of the top NFL backs right now. Alvin Kamara attended Norcross High School in Norcross, Georgia, and he was a standout star on the football field. As a junior in 2011, he rushed for 1,300 yards and 17 touchdowns. In his senior season, he only went up from there, where he rushed for 2,264 yards with 26 touchdowns and even caught 22 passes for 286 yards and 5 touchdowns, and helped lead his high school team to their first ever state championship. Also, when Alvin Kamara was a senior in high school, he was named Mr. Football for Georgia and was even a 6A Player of the Year and earned first team All-State honors, and he even was able to participate in the 2013 Under Armour All-American game. Coming out of the 2013 recruiting class, Alvin Kamara was one of the most highly touted recruits coming out of high school. He was ranked as the 42nd best player in the nation, the number 1 all-purpose back, and the 5th best player in the state of Georgia, and was ranked as a 4-star recruit according to 247 Sports Composite. Alvin Kamara had a total of 16 Division I football offers. Some of his offers include Alabama, Georgia, Auburn, Clemson, Florida, Florida State, Oregon, Nebraska, just to name a few. When Alvin Kamara was trying to make his decision for college, he was trying to go somewhere where he could prolong as a running back and make it to the NFL, so he went to a running back powerhouse in the University of Alabama. Alvin Kamara and his time at Alabama was a very, very rough experience for him. He was expected to be a pretty big contributor for the future and even play some as a true freshman, but he would end up redshirting in his true freshman season due to a knee injury that he had to get surgery for. Not only that, Alvin Kamara had to share a running back room with Derrick Henry, TJ Yeldon, and Kenyon Drake, and if you need a refresher on those 3 players, they would all make it to the NFL and all get drafted pretty high in all their NFL drafts that they got drafted in. After his freshman season at Alabama, Alvin Kamara would end up transferring to Hutchinson Community College in Kansas. As a redshirt freshman in the 2014 college football season at Hutchinson Community College, Alvin Kamara would ball out. In only 9 games played, Alvin Kamara would rush for 1,211 yards, averaging a very impressive 135 yards per game with 18 touchdowns, and he even led Hutchinson Community College with 1,469 yards of total offense and 21 touchdowns. Just like he was in high school, Alvin Kamara was one of the most highly touted Juco recruits coming out of the 2015 recruiting class. Coming out of the 2015 recruiting class, Alvin Kamara was ranked as the 2nd best Juco player in the nation and a 4-star recruit according to the 247 Sports Composite Juco rankings. And also, coming out of the Juco level, he had 2 offers to the FBS Division I level from Tennessee and Georgia. Alvin Kamara would end up committing to Tennessee. In the 2015 college football season, as a redshirt sophomore at Tennessee, Alvin Kamara was mainly the 2nd running back in the room that actually got to play quite a bit, but he shared it with 2 other guys. For the season, he had 698 rushing yards, averaging about 6.5 yards per carry, 7 rushing touchdowns, 291 receiving yards, averaging almost 9 yards per reception, and 3 receiving touchdowns. Alvin Kamara's 2nd season at Tennessee as a redshirt junior in the 2016 college football season would be a lot like his season in 2015, being the 2nd running back in the room, and he would appear in 11 games where he had 596 rushing yards with 9 rushing touchdowns, with 392 receiving yards and 4 receiving touchdowns. Alvin Kamara, after his 2 seasons at Tennessee, he would end up declaring for the 2017 NFL Draft. Despite only starting 8 of his 24 games in his career at Tennessee, Alvin Kamara was seen as one of the top running backs in his 2017 NFL Draft class. Alvin Kamara was projected to be a 2nd-round pick by many, but he would end up falling to a 3rd-round 67th pick in the 2017 NFL Draft to the New Orleans Saints. In Alvin Kamara's rookie season with the Saints, he would have a very big role, and he had a huge impact with the team on the offensive side of the ball. He had 728 rushing yards, including 8 touchdowns on the ground, and he was even better in the air. He had 826 receiving yards and 5 receiving touchdowns. In this season, Kamara would be named to the NFL All-Rookie team, and he would also make the Pro Bowl. In the 2018 season, Alvin Kamara would make an even bigger jump from year 1 to year 2. In this season, he had 883 rushing yards, including 14 touchdowns on the ground, and in the air, he had 709 receiving yards and 4 touchdowns of receiving. Also, in this season, Alvin Kamara would be named to his 2nd straight Pro Bowl appearance. Going into the 2019 NFL season, Alvin Kamara would be going into his first ever NFL season and one of his first seasons since he was in community college at Hutchinson, where he would be the main running back in the system, and he was expected to make an even bigger leap in his game. In the 2019 NFL season, Alvin Kamara would have his worst season yet as an NFL player. Now, Alvin Kamara did admit that he was battling through injuries most of this season, and he never really felt 100%, and it really showed in his game. He still played very well and was even selected to a 3rd straight Pro Bowl appearance, but this season he had 797 rushing yards and only having 5 rushing touchdowns, and in the air he only had 533 receiving yards and 1 receiving touchdown. Before the 2020 NFL season, Alvin Kamara would end up signing a 5-year contract extension worth $75 million. And when running backs are offered that kind of money and that much money for a position that a lot of players do not last very long because of the hard grind of the NFL and just getting beat up more easily than a lot of the other positions, you are expected to show out, and you're expected to live up to the contract that you were offered and the contract that was extended for you. With all this pressure being on Kamara going into this season, Kamara definitely has not disappointed so far in the 2020 season. So far, he's having a career season where he has 932 rushing yards with 16 touchdowns on the ground, and in the air, he's also extremely good. With 756 receiving yards and 5 receiving touchdowns, he's having a career season with 1,688 all-purpose yards, and he has been named to his 4th straight Pro Bowl. Alvin Kamara has done that all in just 15 games, and he still has one more game left in the 2020 NFL regular season, and you already know he's going to do more than just that if they play him, because it is the last game of the season. Some teams don't play all their people the full season, especially when the playoffs are coming up. But if he does, I feel like you can definitely expect him to get 1,000 rushing yards and get into the 800s for receiving yards as well, and even break a receiving touchdown record that he has for his single season record, which is currently tied at 5. Alvin Kamara, in my opinion, is one of the top running backs in the league, and so far in this season, I think he's been the best. And that is coming from a Minnesota Vikings fan. Dalvin Cook is beastly, but I think I gotta give the edge to Kamara. Well guys, that's the end of the video. Remember to smash that like button, turn on them post notifications, and subscribe for more videos. B. Kelly, out!